Kenya's president is on an official visit to Washington. It comes amid deep divisions at home over his plans to send troops to the Caribbean island nation of Haiti. RT's Caleb Maupin picks up the story.
Now, the president of Kenya is expected to shake a lot of hands, do a lot of photo ops, a typical diplomatic visit. However, underlying it all will be the recent announcement that Kenya is leading a number of African countries to send police forces into Haiti. Now, the United States doesn't want to get directly involved. It wouldn't be a good look internationally. So instead, we have a number of African countries that are aligned with the United States that are moving in, and Kenya is taking the lead.
In view of the decision of the courts in our republic, essentially guiding how Kenya should be able to carry out this deployment. And we are in the process, or government is in the process of finalizing preparation to deploy.
Now, Kenya is adamant this isn't an illegal invasion or occupation of Haiti. This is simply an intervention done at the request of the Haitian government, the very same Haitian government that the people of the country are currently rioting and rebelling against.
The request must be made by a democratically elected president of the requesting country. Haiti does not have a president since the killing of Jovenel Moïse in July 2021. The former Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, who actually resigned at the time, did not have those powers under the Constitution of Haiti, and therefore making the whole reciprocal agreement a nullity from the very beginning.
Now, the visit comes as the United States is currently losing ground on the African continent. A recent Gallup poll shows that Africans have a far less favorable view of the United States compared to other major countries and superpowers. Now, it's important to note that there's a number of African countries that recently asked the United States and its forces to pack up and leave. There hasn't been an official visit to the United States from an African leader since 2009. It's been roughly 15 years since Ron Coffer of Ghana had the red carpet rolled out for him by U.S. President George W. Bush.
President Biden's foreign policy has been a disaster on every continent, and Africa is no exception. While the Russians and Chinese are working overtime to oust the U.S. from a region that will soon be home to a quarter of the Earth's population, the Biden administration continues to fumble the ball and weaken our nation's strategic interests with our African partners.
Now, President Ruto is also facing problems back in Kenya. In 2023, the country experienced rioting as food and fuel prices were skyrocketing. It's also got rising national debt. Now, he's expected to address the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and make clear that Kenya, his homeland, is a prime spot for investment. News of the trip back home has been overshadowed by rising anger about potential tax hikes, as well as corruption, and feelings that the government response to flooding that killed 160 people was mismanaged. Some are less than thrilled about the prospect of Kenyan involvement in Haiti.
Even right now, there is a court matter, there is a petition at the High Court opposing the deployment of Kenyan troops to Haiti, something that the U.S. is really pushing. But we know that the current president, William Ruto, is just doing it for the sake of money. The U.S. had promised $100 million, and other countries had also promised up to $300 million. And this is what the government is looking at. Instead of looking at the interests of the people internally, instead of looking at the security, it's just for money. And most Kenyans are actually in opposition to this deployment. But the U.S. is really insisting, and we believe that that will be top of the agenda. We hope the Kenyan courts will once again stop this deployment of Kenyan policemen to Haiti. So it is just a situation where Kenya is still a neo-colonial state, a state that begs, a state that sees itself inferior to the U.S., and that is why the president was invited.
It's no secret that Africa is drifting closer to Russia and China as the world moves toward multipolarity. However, Ruto seems like the kind of leader who is trying to hold on to that old setup, and Joe Biden has no problem giving him a rainbow tour. What remains to be seen is, amid all the lights and handshakes, how well American mainstream media will be able to obscure the reality of what's happening on the ground in Haiti and back in Africa. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.